What's in your brand? This is a critical question for small and medium business owners who are trying to develop their company and build their brand. And I just happen to be here today with John Brand, marketing expert and the CEO of Brand Design. John, a little bit about Brand Design.
Hi, Brand Design is a full-service advertising agency located in Warrenton, Virginia. We serve Maryland, D.C., several other states around the country. We've been in business about 18 years now, and we started in 1994.
Great.
And we do every form of marketing that there is to offer pretty much.
Great. And we're here to talk about branding today. And I guess with a name like John Brand, you didn't have much of a career choice.
I was actually born into the business.
Born into the business.
And named that way too. Yeah.
Great. Well, John, I know that a brand is more than just a great logo, right? And so as you look at your clients, what are some things really that make up a great brand, and how do you create a great brand, and really what is your brand, and what goes into all that?
Well, branding is very important to a business. I mean, it's probably one of the most important things for a business. It helps to differentiate yourself from your competitors, which is really important. And it also helps you to be recognized by your customers and to help your customers be recognized. So when I develop something for a customer, I develop their brand, I'm looking to distinguish them so that they can sell more product.
Okay, great. So as you look at how to create a brand, just what are some things, what are some recommendations you give as people are trying to pick their name and they're trying to pick their brand? And then what's all the,
branding,
I know it's, but what does that mean, I mean?
Branding, look at, you see my tie. I'm wearing this tie this morning. It has a certain pattern to it. And if you look at animals, I'll relate this to animals. If you look at animals like tigers or leopards, they all have their own specific spots or stripes.
Right.
Well, businesses have to have their own specific spots and stripes. It's the same exact thing. Basically, if you're a zebra, you have the stripes, you have the claws for doing claw-like things if you're trying to get game. You have large teeth. You have all these different attributes, and that's what branding is for business. Businesses have a variety of attributes, and all those play a part of their brand. That becomes part of their brand.
Right. Good. I like how you use that, especially that animal, and the animal has their stripes, but then it's also what that animal does, right?
That's correct.
So you have certain expectations from a leopard or from a giraffe. You know what they are, and you have certain expectations. And I think that's the same thing with business, where, when you see the McDonald's brand, you kind of have an expectation there.
Absolutely.
So, and I know you've kind of built this into your own brand with the animal. Do you mind if we show some of those?
Absolutely.
Some of those slides?
Sure. Yeah. You can see.
Alyssa, do you have the brand slides? Good.
Basically, you're going to see a variety of things. You're going to see a brochure. You're going to see some postcards, and you'll see here. This is my brand. I have this on my website. I have the brand on my website. I have the brand with my brochures, my postcards, my mailers, my advertising. It's all that same theme and the reason why I'm using this today, the reason why I came here and put the tie on is because this is what I'm about. This is what branding is, and so I thought this would be the easiest way to convey what branding is to the audience.
Great. Yeah, and I like the way that you use all the different, the different animals. So it's not just about, we saw the first picture that, I got to ask you, is that a real tiger? I mean, are you like posing with a tiger, or did Linda do some Photoshop?
It had been fed. No, it had been fed.
Okay.
In all seriousness, it's amazing what you can do with Photoshop and the tools we have today on the computer. And of course, we took some photography, and then we brought the two together and to make it look very realistic. And I've been asked that by so many people.
Yeah. And I like how kind of even your background plays into that stripes and that animal theme, and knowing just by the look and the feel of that animal that's a
yeah, it's really helped distinguish my firm from other companies where, from what I can remember, we're the only ones really doing this sort of. People say, well, what's with the animals? Well, animals have all these different traits, and they have all these different looks and feels, and that's what branding is about. That's what we're about for business.
Good. So your brand is everything that has to do with your business, including the service you provide, and then how you communicate that as well. Alyssa, any questions from the audience?
Do you have any recommendations about using my last name in the company name and brand?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I think a lot of people, hey, I opened my own company and now I'm, Johnson Plumbing, or, consultants, CPAs especially. What do you recommend with people doing that?
Absolutely. I mean, when I started brand design, I wasn't necessarily thinking branding and brand design. I actually started because I was thinking of my name, John Brand.
Yeah.
But as it turned out, my name brand and branding became such a popular catchphrase term
Right.
that now my name and they kind of work together. So yeah, I think if it's very important to use your name in your brand if you can. And it really also depends on the type of business that you're in. I mean, if you're a plumber, you might want to say something more towards plumbing. But if you're Johnson's Plumbing, you want to differentiate yourself from Ted's Plumbing, then that's a good way to do it. So, yeah.
And how do you when you look at kind of a business strategically, do you have any recommendations? Because if you start naming the business after yourself, then it may limit down the road what you can do, or
Absolutely.
if you can sell, those types of things, because those kind of play into those strategic decisions. What do you think about that?
If you're a small business and you're going to keep your business is primarily going to be localized. I don't think it's a bad idea to use your name. You want people to know who you are. You're
Right,
going to be
right,
all over
right.
the place, so that's very important. But you can reach out a little bit with your name regionally. If you look at Purdue and
Right.
the chickens, if you look at Ferguson Plumbing, they're regional. They're along the East Coast, so you can reach that along, and that name can become part of it. I'm not sure if McDonald's was done that way or not. I'm not sure. I guess it maybe was.
Actually, I think they bought it.
Yeah.
I think the guy who did it actually bought it from the
Sure.
McDonald brothers or
Yep.
something like that.
Yep.
but
So
way
you can
before
see how
McDonald's.
that can translate into utilizing your name and using your name for branding.
Yeah, so it sounds like, when you're looking at and using your name, that, if you brand it right and you do the right things, that even your last name can be something that can go national or be bigger. And
That's
you look at
absolutely
some of the
correct.
bigger companies,
Mhm.
but there was a lot of branding behind that.
That's correct.
And one other question was, any just kind of techniques and tips about creating your brand as far as, should I make it say what I do? Should I incorporate a tagline? What about the picture? How complicated should the logo be? And even just a little bit about logo design,
Absolutely.
How are people using logos these days and what's changed?
Well, there's traditional companies and there's contemporary companies, and so a lot of times your logo and your image depends on whether you're traditional or contemporary. There's so many different forms of design out there. And so if you're trying to get across that sort of traditional feel, then you probably want to do a logo that's somewhat traditional in nature and
Right.
look and feel. Same with a slogan. If you're a contemporary company, then that's the kind of mode that you're in. Then of course you want something that's very contemporary and a contemporary slogan, something that appeals to people of the time. So
Right.
yeah, it is important to have, of course, a logo and a slogan. What's more important, actually, is to do the research and see what your competitors are doing, see what the industry is doing, see what the product's requirement is. So
Right.
research and focus groups and things like that when you're developing your brand. And the other important thing is how well do your employees understand your brand? Because branding is not just an outside thing. It starts on the
Exactly.
inside. It
Yeah.
starts with your employees and it starts with you. And so that translates to the outside. So it's
Right.
very important that the employees are all on board with that brand, because that's what's going to help the brand take off and be caught and captured by
Right.
your customers.
Yeah, and doing a lot with social media, and even as I took my brand and created shirts and doing those types of things. When you're thinking about, especially your logo design, make sure that when you share it on Facebook, it's going to look good. So there may be some kind of everything's square in social media. It seems like
That's
everything's
right.
square. So people that have the big long, logos, it's tough to kind of get it down and picture it.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, from an image standpoint, I mean, obviously you want an image that is going to stand out from your competitors, and it's also going to be very recognizable to your customers. So if you're in the horse industry and you do a picture of the horse, there's going to be 100 other companies that are in the horse industry doing pictures of a horse. But if your
Right.
horse has spots or stripes, that's a different type of horse. Now all of a
Okay.
sudden you stand out. So you have to figure out, when you're developing a brand and a logo and that type of thing, a slogan, to do it in a manner that will help you to stand out and separate yourself from your competitors and
Yeah.
distinguish yourself for your customers. That's really
yeah,
the
so
primary importance.
just like other marketing, creating your logo, creating your brand, certainly differentiation and reflection of what you do and the qualities that you hold is a very important thing.
Absolutely.
That's great. Well, John, hey, thanks so much for being here today. I appreciate all the great information, and you know that we're about helping people be better at business, and I think this will help them do that today.
Absolutely.
You know, certainly, if you found this information useful, feel free, please share it with your colleagues, share it with your friends, or share it with your clients if you're a business professional. And but most of all, take the information today and somehow take that back and use it so that you can be better at business today. Next week, we're going to be with Paul Goff. We're going to talk about healthcare. Paul is an insurance agent with the Puffenberger Agency here in Northern Virginia. And we're going to be talking through healthcare reform and some of the things, and really, in a non-political way, talk about healthcare reform and how it's going to affect business, or how it could affect your business and your bottom line over the upcoming years. So thanks for joining us today, and be better at business.